welcome back to Design Basics. Today I thought I would show you a quick, really quick, cute card using the butterfly, the Beautiful Wings butterfly embosslet. And I wanted to show you real quick how to use this. I'm not going to go over to the big shot, but I thought I would show you real quick how it works. You'll notice that it's marked on here, place this side down. So when you make your sandwich, make sure it's in the big shot this direction. So let's pretend that the stamp pad is my big shot and my handle's over here. So once you make your sandwich, put it in your big shot like this, so that when it comes across, the pressure is on the hinges evenly. If you put it on this way or this way, it's going to put too much pressure going across these and they will break on you. So just keep that in mind. Here's the other thing to note, is you want to pay attention when you put your designer series paper in here. You want to make sure that your paper or your cardstock that you want to see, I like the embossed facing out. So place the side of the paper or cardstock that you want to see facing up toward you. Otherwise, you'll get the reverse effect, which is not bad, but the embossing is not as strong. You don't see it as well when it's facing down. So make sure it's facing up. And that's the back. That's the back, the side that's supposed to be facing down. Okay, and then one quick tip on some of these small ones are a little bit tricky to get out. So I like to use just my, what's this thing called? An X-Acto knife. Sorry, it's late. Just use an X-Acto knife and you can kind of get a hold of the corner of it and flip it out. And notice, I'm not going to use this little tiny one, I don't think. But notice this one. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not. This is, all this designer paper is from the Sweet Pea pack, but this one is the white with the yellow polka dots, and this one only has one tiny little yellow polka dot down in the corner. But I thought, well, maybe I'll redo that, but then I decided, no, I actually kind of like it with just one little dot. And you'll see why I like the white in it, because that's going to help bring out some white that's in the rest of our card. Okay, so that's how to use the Beautiful Wings embosslet die from Stampin' Up. Alright, move that to the side. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to run this through my impression folder. But if you're going to stamp wherever your impression is going to be, make sure you stamp before you run it through your impression folder. It's just an easier way to make sure that your ink is evenly coated on your cardstock. Now I'm actually going to use Craft White cardstock. Craft White stamp pad. So make sure when you stamp that, you give it plenty of time to dry before you run it through as well. This just says thanks. This is just going to be a quick little thank you card. And this stamp, thank you, is from the Thank You Kindly stamp set. Okay, now I'm just going to hit this with my heat gun for just a second to make sure that it's dry before I put it in my impression folder. Okay, so that should be good. Not smearing, not coming off on my finger. Now I'm going to put it in my impression folder. I'm going to use the Perfect Polka Dots. Now here's another tip for you. The design of the card is such that I'm going to have designer series paper running down the side. So I need to make sure that I don't cut my words off when I stick that down. So let's go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to run it through my impression folder. I'm going to put my adhesive on the back of this blue one, and then I have this little strip of brown from the same designer series pack that is 1/2 inch wide, and I'm going to just have a little bit of it showing to the left as well. And now I'll stick the whole thing down. Making sure not to cover up my greeting. Here's another, I do this often. I'm sure you've probably heard me, maybe you're tired, but for those who haven't seen me do this before, if you'll use your grid as a guide, wherever you put it on the grid, for example, we can use this line right here. As long as my cardstock is laying on here straight, then I can use the grid to line that up at the top as well. Okay, just like that. Now, I only want the impression of my dots to be on this side and not on top of my designer series paper. That's why I went ahead and put my designer series paper on, so then I can see, because you can look through the impression folder to tell exactly where those dots are going to be. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'm just going to run this through my Big Shot. Okay, so I'm back. I've run that through my Big Shot, and when I open it up, you'll notice that my texture is only on the right-hand side, exactly where I want it, and my greeting is not distorted because I stamped it before I ran it through. Now, I'm going to add some Bashful Blue satin ribbon, because that's the colors in my paper, my designer series paper. "16 inches, by the way, is what you need to go around a card this direction. It gives you just enough, with just enough room to trim the ends. I'm going to slide this up. I'm not sure exactly where I want my knot to go, so I'll just leave it right there for now. But I'll go ahead and trim the tails. Using my paper snips. Another tip for you is make sure that your tails are pretty close to the same length on either side. For example, this one's a little bit longer. Unless you're going to have a big difference between the two, it's going to look like you tried to make a match and then missed it. It's just those little details that make all the difference in a card. Now, let me grab my glue dots. I'm going to start putting my butterflies on. Let me lay this out so I can decide where I want them to go. I know that I want my big butterfly over here close to this textured paper, because if I take this, see how busy this pattern is? Well, for one, I wouldn't want to put the blue right on top of it because you lose it. But I do want to tie the blue in, so I'm going to lay it over here. Then I have a green polka dot. If I take the green polka dot and lay it on top of the designer paper, it just makes it too busy. Okay, and then, now the little yellow one, it would look fine, but I have another yellow one down here, so if I'm going to add it, then I want to put it up at the top. But I'm not so sure I want that one. I think I'm going to use the little white one with the little one dot of yellow on it, because I already have one yellow butterfly. And it wouldn't look horrible to have another one. You know what? I have this tiny little one that I showed you how to take out. So we'll add him. We're just going to make our butterflies look like they're fluttering up off of the page. And I'm just going to use some glue dots to adhere these. I want to put my glue dot in the center of my butterfly. That way my wings have the ability to stand up. Otherwise I would just be sticking them down. Wasn't sure I had it there for a second. There we go. Now the smaller these get, I think one go the opposite direction. The smaller these butterflies get, then the more likely your glue dots are to see. But I recommend you just fold it in half. Oopsie. And then the tiniest one, I'm just going to use my X-Acto knife since I have it here. I'll just keep this over here in a little shelf that I have on the right hand side of my workspace at all times, so I can grab it if I need it. It just comes in handy. And there you have it. A really cute, simple card. Use Beautiful Wings Embosslet for the butterfly. Thanks for joining me for Design Basics, and I'll see you next time.